Well, hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Well, welcome back. So it's been about 2 weeks since I've been able to visit with you, and I've really actually missed this time. And you would think, why? Because you're not interacting with me. But it's a time for me to kind of just regurgitate a bunch of things that are on my mind. So the last 2 Tuesdays have been Eves. There was Christmas Eve, which was just a crazy hustle bustle for us around here, and then we had to get over to some family's house, and then on New Year's Eve, one of my out-of-state clients decided to dump me over the phone, and well, that got me. Because if you knew me personally, you'd know that I have real perfectionist issues. And that makes my husband laugh because he used to always tell potential employers that he was a perfectionist. But he'll admit that he never knew a true perfectionist until he met me. Because he's seen what something like a client ending our relationship can do to me. It just crushes me, and it's not so much the breakup part, it's that what did I do wrong? What could I have done different? And so I really can, I mean, it can make me just nuts for something like that to happen. You know, I get really upset. But I actually managed last week quite a bit better than I thought I would, but it kind of took away from my gung-ho conversation that I wanted to have about New Year's and goals and stuff like that. So I'm okay with that situation, and honestly, I'd wanted to break up with that client 3 or 4 months ago, but I just kept staying in it and kept staying in it. And so it was a valuable reminder to me that when we're ready to let go of something, that we should just let go of it anyway, because eventually it's going to fall apart on us in some way. So that's my little takeaway for you for the last 2 weeks. But today I want to talk to you about whether or not vision boards work. You know, vision boards have been a buzz, I know, for at least like the last 10 years. Back in when I was in real estate is when we first started hearing about vision boards. And around that time, even though everybody I knew was creating vision boards, I never really went to work on one. And I think the biggest reason why that is because it was hard for me to get really clear on what it was that I wanted. As far as everyday tangible things, I mean, I could get in line with that, but I really didn't know what I wanted. So that's, you know, probably 2007, 2006. And it wasn't until 2009, actually in January of 2009, I moved into a house by myself for the first time ever. I actually set up house, I decorated, I really got stable in a house by myself, and I felt more confident than I'd probably ever felt in my adult life. And so I set out to create a vision board. Now, a lot of times vision boards are clippings from magazines or things that have been printed off the internet and then cut out and all put onto a poster board. And that still wasn't something that was vibing with me at the time. So what I did, and which you may or may not be able to see behind me, is I split up kind of my life into 5 categories based on a book that I read by a guy who was a great guru, but then had kind of a crazy incident go on with a sweat lodge. We'll just keep it at that. But I've always clung to this idea of reflecting on life and the things that we want and the things that we want to achieve based on 5 pillars. So that's what I did up here with these big pieces of paper back in 2009, is I set up 5 different categories, and they're just basically like physical, emotional, mental, spirit, and relational. So, and those kind of, each category kind of breaks down into a couple of different things. Like physical is how you physically want your health to be, also physical things that you want. Mental things is how you want to grow mentally. Relationships is not just, you know, intimate partners. It's all the different relationships that would be in your life. Spiritual obviously is pretty understandable. So now, what I did is I filled out these sheets with all of kind of my hopes and dreams and a lot of gratitude that I had for those potential hopes and dreams. And I haven't done a vision board since then. And in 2009, my life radically changed. Before that, I'd always mostly been a single person. I didn't have any children, and things just started to change after I created this vision board. And on my relationship section of this board, I was very, very clear and very intentional about things that I put down about my partner. And you know, I could start crying my eyes out right now because sentence by sentence by sentence of what I wrote down for what I wanted in my partner, I have today, you know, and it blows me away. It blows me away. And another part of my relational thing is that I put on there at the time that, you know, my intentions for the relationship that I wanted to have with my child, but I also put on there that I would be a mother to many. And here I am, mother to 4 children in the last 10 years. So not every single thing that I put on these vision boards came true, but enough of them came true for me that I've forever clung to vision boards as being an awesome way to manifest or create or draw to you what it is that you want in your life. Now, I would sit every day in a spare room that I had where all of these were hung up, and I would read through them and I would pray on them and I would meditate on them. And then as my life started to shift in 2009, that's when Maisie was created in the late spring, early summer. And so my life just got put into motion. So the last 10 years of my life have been wildly different than the 10 years before that. And it's really given me, you know, great hope for where my life is obviously going to be going. So I really and truly believe that vision boards do work. And I just want you to know that you can do a vision board in a lot of different ways. You can go the traditional route, get a stack of magazines, print out some words. You could just freehand it if you wanted. You could draw all the things. You could write everything down like this. But I can't tell you how amazing it is when you get clear on what you want. Now, since 2009, I've really never done another vision board. I've got all around my desk area here in our room, I've got words and I've got sayings. One of them that I always like to look at and remind myself of is that I expect miracles because I have the faith to produce miracles. So even though I haven't connected to a set vision board up until now, I still have intentions everywhere in my space so that I'm always focused on where I want to go. Because it's easy for me to sit down and get to thinking and get caught up in my thoughts and get distracted from what I want to be doing. But when I look up and I see one of these intentions, boom, it gets me right back on track. Also, I found that there's actually a couple of different apps out there that you can get on your phone. So if you're more of a digital person and you're not a person that likes to write things down or have something up on your wall or in your room or your office or wherever you meditate, there's actually vision board apps now that you can, use different pictures from what they've got. You can add in words that you want to add in, but it's a visual reminder that you can have on your phone. You can even put it up on your social media, kind of to always give you a reference point to come back to for your goals and dreams. Now, I would honestly say that probably the reason why I haven't done a true vision board since then is because I feel like I've just been in life, just doing life. You know, I went from having Maisie, and then I moved back to Arkansas for a little bit, and then I had Josie, and then I was really sick for a long time, and then I moved back to Arizona, and within a year of moving back to Arizona, I met my husband. The next year we were married, we moved in together, I was the mom of 4, so just life kind of, I was just living life for, you know, the last 10 years since I created this vision board. And it's not really till now where I actually kind of feel a little bit more grounded in my life, because in reflecting over, you know, the last year and the last 4 years and the last 5 years since I've been with my husband, I can honestly say that I've been overwhelmed for the last 4 years. You know, I don't know if there's anything that could have ever prepared me to be a mom to all these people, and to go from being a solitary kind of by myself person to living in a house where I'm one of 7 people. But I finally feel like I'm through that. I'm through that overwhelm, and I'm to a point where I can get clear on the things that I want going forward in the future. And now I can harness them into one place that allows me to focus and meditate on them and cooperate with God to make them happen in my life. So I want you to know that if you're like that, if you're like me in the last 4 years or in the last 10 years, you've just been doing life, do not make yourself feel bad for that. Don't beat yourself up for that. Just acknowledge that you still were getting up every single day and doing the thing that had to be done. But when you get a moment and you can get things to calm down a little bit for you, it will change your world so much if you can get clear on the things that you want to happen in your life, from your health to your wealth, to your relationships, to your mental and emotional self, and your spiritual situation, whatever that might be, you know. And for some people, spiritual might just mean beginning to meditate some more, or beginning to look at some affirmations that you can bring into your life. Or it might be, you know, reconnecting with God, and, you know, forming a relationship with Jesus and God. You never know. There's a lot of avenues out there that could make spiritual work for you. But I want to encourage you, more than just thinking about your goals for 2020 and getting bogged down by that and all the things that get reneged on that list, take a long vision out. Take a long vision past just this year, and think about and have fun with it. Have fun with whatever it is. If you've always had an idea of, you know, going all over the United States, then put an RV on your board. It might seem silly now and completely unattainable for you, but if you create a vision for something, I know this from my own experience, but if you can create a vision for something and you can hold positive thoughts and ideas around it, no matter how hokey that sounds, I promise you that may come to you. Now, it might not come in that great big full-size Airstream RV or that giant one that's taller than most humans, but it might come in a teardrop that you could pull behind your car and see a lot of sights. So, but by creating that vision, you open up the highway to unlimited possibilities for yourself. So, do vision boards work? I totally think they do. And I right now feel clear about several things that I want for myself and for my family and for my children. So I'm excited about getting to work on my vision board. And don't feel like just because we're already like 7 days into the month, time and the calendar doesn't have anything to do with where you're going, okay? So don't let those boundaries hold you into a box. And you don't have to get this done next week. Your vision board could be a work in progress from now until the end of the year. And can you imagine how powerful you'll be in that next year after having spent time just focusing on what would make you happy and what would bring better things to you in your wealth and your health and how you approach and do things in life. So I hope to, I don't know about next week, because next week I want to talk to you about personality boards, but sometime between next week and the next week, I'm going to be able to show you some things that I've got going in my vision board. And remember, if it's easier for you, like it is me, to split it up into categories so that you can zero in, try the 5 pillars, and they're in no particular order: relationships, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Is that right? Mental, financial, no. It's spiritual, physical, financial, mental, and relationships. Relational, however you want to look at that. So those are some good little categories that you could use to simplify this process of looking at what you want to bring into your life and what you want to let go of in your life. So I hope you have the best day ever, and I hope that you're inspired to get clear about not just your goals for 2020, but what you want and what you desire in life going forward. And I hope you have the best day ever. And if you're here in sunny Arizona, I hope that you're enjoying this last warm day before the temperatures drop back off for a little bit. And until next time,